We can't share a driveway anymore? Fine, enjoy your tiny driveway. When my SO and I moved into our house some 20 years ago, our neighbors on one side were an elderly husband and wife who we got along with very well. Our two houses shared a driveway that ran from the street to the alley behind the houses, and we each had our own parking area in the back. The driveway was set up so that about 2 feet of it was on our property with the rest on the neighbor's property. The driveway was right up against the neighbor's house and about 8 feet from ours. We all made it a point to not park in the driveway so that we didn't block each other's way and had no problems for 15 years. Sadly, the sweet neighbors died about 5 years ago and their house was bought by Mike, a man who regularly bought old houses to rent or resell and who clearly didn't care about anything except profit. The first time that we ever met Mike was right after a car had hit our house. The driver had a stroke and lost control of his car while driving down our street. The front of his car was actually inside of our house. So here we are freaking out because a car is literally sticking out of our house, surrounded by a crowd of onlookers, police, and emergency workers. When Mike saunters over and introduces himself by saying that the whole driveway, plus part of our garage area, are on his property. We tell him that he's wrong, but that this is not the time to discuss it, and we'll get back to him later. We do some investigating and discover that the property line is exactly where we knew it to be, and that the map Mike was using had the property line overlay off by about 2 feet. Nevertheless, Mike continues to harass us and tell us that we can't use the driveway any longer because he's going to rent the place out, and it would be a liability to have us driving on his property. Fine. We'd often talked about putting in our own driveway, so now was as good a time as any. Mike was quite pleased when we told him that. At least he was, until he learned that the new driveway was going in right next to his driveway along our property line. He tried to talk us into putting the driveway on the other side of the house, obviously, so that he would still have use of the full existing driveway, which sat 2 feet onto our property. The look on Mike's face when he saw where the surveyor drew our property line was absolutely priceless. The line left just barely enough room for a car to fit on his side, and he couldn't widen his driveway because it already ran right next to his house. So we used a chunk of our lawn on that side to install a nice wide driveway with Riverstone gravel so that it would be very obvious where our driveway ended and Mike's very narrow blacktop driveway began. Mike never spoke to us again.